All right guys, so now looking at the hammer strength low row, but with a lat bias, we can get a lat bias, or we can achieve a lat bias with a single arm setup here, with a unilateral setup. What we couldn't quite achieve when we did the bilateral variation is we're kind of fixed towards the path of motion that the machine offers when it comes to that. However, when we shift ourselves away and we line it up to the individual now, for me, I can actually get my chest fully on the pad here and I can line it up really well. But for someone like Charlie, actually for him it's better to brace against this upper part of the machine structure here. Shift is set, he orientates himself slightly to the side, and the chest pad is a bit out of the equation for him. It's not really necessary. So this is where we're going to get our structure and our bracing and our stability. Whereas for me, I might be able to use the chest pad. Now, he's going to grab the handle, and what you'll see here is that because he's shifting himself more over to the side, we can keep that humerus, that upper arm, super close into the side of the body, and we can line up really, really well with those lat fibers. So as a result of being able to stand as well, his arm path directs super nicely towards the orientation of the lat fibers here. So the cue really to have a think about this here is I'll get him to start at the bottom. This sits in a neutral position. He's going to rhythmically kind of pull the shoulder blade around to that opposite hip down here. And at the same time, while that scapula is moving, that upper arm is also moving and kind of being, that elbow being directed around the rib cage towards somewhere around the base of the spine. The other thing he's thinking about here as well is he's going to keep that elbow low throughout the movement. So he's avoiding using excessive elbow flexion, so he's keeping those biceps really quiet and really maximizing the contraction through the lats. Now, one thing you want to avoid, or a couple of things you want to avoid, the main one really is going to be using too much momentum. So it's just that throw. And part of that can come from a couple of things. It can either come from that torso rotating way too much and way too early, or it can simply come, even if he keeps his body fixed, it's just simply chucking the weight back and forward and just having no control over the torso or the ribcage position. So instead, we're going to get him to set up again. He's going to lock that rib cage into position here, so that from here down to here really isn't moving. All we're focusing on is that scap sliding around and that upper arm sliding around, creating as deep a contraction as possible throughout the full contractile range in those lats.